Episode 83 on the 9 Point Started with a Dream podcast.
Welcome to 9 Point Started with a Dream podcast. Our goal is to showcase the stories of athletes and the community that supports them by being authentic about their journey. Here's your host, Jacoby Gillum.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, as always, Jacoby Gillum. This episode, we have Acheil, and she's my new friend from the Dallas, Texas area. So shout out to Acheil High School in this episode, in Richardson High School. But in this episode, she kind of goes through her journey, from how she moved here from Egypt, trying to learn a new sport, to how she realized, there were a lot of things she did not know about being a college student athlete and what that journey looked like and what it really meant to beyond the glamour, and how it led to her to writing her book and being an overseas pro athlete and so much more. And so this episode is going to be a great episode for anyone just looking for maybe a glimpse inside the lens, a glimpse inside what it looks like to be inside that world. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and let's get to it. So Acheil, the question I ask everyone that comes on is, when you're younger as an athlete, what was one of your biggest goals you wanted to achieve?
I would say when you're a younger athlete, I think the biggest goal I feel like everybody has in mind is to go on and get a scholarship to college, and then to take it further to play in the pros. I think as an athlete, that those are the kind of steps that we kind of think about, and plan out with our careers. And, you never know how you're going to get there. You never know if you're actually going to get there, but you tend to get the confidence and you tend to do the hard work to get there. And so I would say, yeah.
So that was your dream, to go pro?
Yes, that was actually, it's so crazy because my journey was a little different. Most kids start playing basketball at the age of 4 or 5, when they're younger. For me, I moved here from Egypt when I was about 9 years old. And moving here was like a different culture, different environment. I didn't really pick up sports until high school. When I was in high school, and I didn't even know how to play basketball. I was uncoordinated. Like I was just this tall, skinny kid that was just uncoordinated, didn't know much about the sport or any other sport. And I remember trying out for my freshman team in high school. And although I was terrible, I think my coach saw some potential in me. So she went ahead and put me on the freshman team, and that's how I developed over time. And at first, I didn't even know that you could go to college for basketball or sports, period. I didn't know you can get scholarships. I didn't know anything about that. I knew about academic scholarships, but I didn't know about like athletic scholarships. I also didn't really know about the pros that much, coming into a new country. So I was learning everything all at once. And so when I started playing basketball, I think that world just kind of opened up to me. And that's when I started learning about scholarships, going to school for free, getting an education while you're at it. And then, planning for the pros if that's what you want to do and if you have the opportunity. So that's kind of how I took it.
Shout out to Acheil High and what are the coach names?
The coach's name is Coach McCullough, Donna McCullough.
Coach McCullough, she changed the game for you.
She did. She really did. She literally put me out there out of my comfort zone. I tried out, honestly, because I wanted to do something, right? When you're in high school, you kind of want to try different things. And so I was like, oh, this would be interesting, and I watched it, so I was like, oh, this would be something cool to try just as a hobby. I really didn't know I was going to have a career or make a career out of it. And she saw something in me that I didn't see. And from that point forward, she just kind of like I guess she played a big part in my future now and how I developed and how fast I developed too, honestly. I developed really fast for someone that's never played the sport or doesn't really know much about the sport starting off, especially at that age, So it's like, I was 15, right? 15 and as a freshman. So it's like I would say it's kind of late in the game at that point to kind of pick up a new sport. But I feel like if you have the skill sets, if you do the hard work and all that, then you can over time, get better and get really good at it. And I mean, at first I thought, I thought everybody in my age group was ahead of me because they've been playing for a really long time. They were using trainers, they played AU ball. So I felt like I was behind, but I took my time with it. And I was around people that I needed to be around to kind of develop me, not only mentally, but physically as well. And it just went from there. And then I was able to follow my course, follow my journey, and it led me to here now. So, yeah.
That's awesome they said that because I know like just because like in Dallas, sports are everything, right? You know,
Right.
things are so competitive, especially against the high school level, and the fact that you know that you kind of just trust the process a little bit. I think that's kind of cool for someone to hear it, you know, especially because for someone know that if you just keep working at it, you know, that you can just kind of just learn the game along the right way.
Most definitely.
So for you, you know, you came from Egypt,
Hmm.
and so what was that like trying to, you know, make friends and figure out, you know, this life in the U.S.?
Honestly, I think it was one of the most difficult things I've ever done, and it made it more difficult just because I obviously didn't know the language. So like coming here is just like a baby having to learn like a language or having to learn how to walk. You know, you start from the beginning stages and you know learn as you go. But communicating was really tough, and in this life you have to be able to communicate with people, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
the number one thing, and so not having the communication aspect was really tough in making friends or talking to my teachers or whatever the case was. So when I got here, I was put in ESL, which is like English
Yeah,
second language, learn the language, and my growth through that was astonishing, I would say, because I literally, it was quick, you know. It wasn't like most kids, like they would tell me like you're growing at a really rapid rate, and I was picking it up. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was because it was me personally, or usually if you're a foreigner and you're learning a language, I've heard that you pick it up faster if you're learning like a different language because you know other languages. So I don't know if it's true, I don't know. But through that I was able to pick up the language faster. And so then when I started learning some stuff, I was able to use that to communicate, make friends, and you know, talk to my teachers. And yeah.
did sports kind of become like maybe like a common ground to kind of help you kind of make connections with people?
Most definitely, yes. Especially in high school, right? So you're trying to find who you are. You're trying to find what group you belong to. And when you play sports, I think for me it was more than just sports because I was able to be around a group of ladies that I really admired and liked, and we all grew together. And it's just having something in common. It feels great, right? Because you guys can do everything together. You don't have to feel like an outsider. And as an athlete, I feel like we get a lot of love too from other people that are not in sports. So that kind of like fuels your confidence, especially in high school, because that's like one of like the toughest time of your life, you know, most people would
Mm-hmm.
say. So having a support system, you know, being involved in sports and having a support system, a family, some friendships, and creating those relationships, I think helps you as a person, not just as an athlete. So that was really one of the main things that I really liked about being in the sports world, being in the athletic world, because you felt like you weren't doing it alone. You know, you had people that you can lean on that were going through the same thing you were going through. So it kind of helped with certain situations you probably felt or needed someone to go through with you.
Definitely, nothing like having that community behind you.
Right, definitely.
So at what point in the journey did you kind of realize that, like, yo, I can be good at this?
I would say my sophomore year. So for me particularly, I went through the steps of playing on the freshman team and then moving up to JV my sophomore year, playing JV, and then I didn't get moved up to varsity until after the end of my the end of my JV season. You know how varsity goes to
Mm-hmm.
playoffs, and
Yes.
most JV people get moved up because they feel like they're good enough, and also if you know any of the players from varsity were to get in foul trouble or anything, then they can play the JV people. And that's how my journey was. And I just saw the development with my skills. It's just, I don't know, it just happened really fast, and I started thinking to myself like, oh my gosh, I can really do this seriously. Like I love what I'm doing. I enjoyed it so much playing basketball. I enjoyed it so much. And then once people came up to me and started telling me, oh my gosh, you're so good, and then they asked me, how long have you been playing? And I only tell them like, you know, I've only been playing for a year now. They're like taken back, and that just fueled my confidence, right? And I'm like, okay, they really think I'm that good, then I can do so much more than what I thought initially, you know. And so played on the sophomore JV team as a sophomore, got moved to varsity, and then on varsity it was kind of a struggle because I was good, but they started putting all the pressure on me, right, of having to perform like being one of the key players on the team. And so coming from someone that's just, okay, I'm developing, I like this, to, oh my gosh, you're that person now, it was kind of tough because it happened so fast. But I had people around me, and my coaching staff was very understanding, and they kind of helped me through that. And then I only was able to play one season of AU. And honestly, I wasn't even looking into it. I didn't know anything about that world. Nobody was really helping me through this process. I mean, my mom didn't really know about this. And my coaching staff, back then, AU wasn't as big as today, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a different world. I graduated in 2012, so it's kind of like a different world.
Hey,
So,
2012. 2012 was that. I was 2012.
huh?
2012 was where it's at. I was 2012.
Really?
Yeah. Richardson High
That
School,
was the best
2012.
class ever. 2012 was the best class ever. The best year.
Preach.
I don't care what nobody says.
Preach.
Definitely, yeah. That was that class. No matter what school you went to, 2012 was that class. So yeah, I ended up only playing one summer. And it was just my teammate one day came into the locker room, and she's like, hey, I play on this AU team, and I would like for you to play for us or play with us. And I was like, sure. Like, I was just like, okay. It wasn't like, oh, no, I have to find the best AU team so I can get exposure. Nobody was thinking that way, you know, back in 2012. You know, now it's different in today's society. But back then it was like, okay, I just want to play. I want to get better. I want to keep playing during the summer, you know, and get exposure, the amount of exposure you could get back then. And so I started playing, and then these colleges out of nowhere just started rolling in and wanting to know about me, contacting my high school coach. And, you know, back then, the relationship between college coaches and high school coaches was a little stronger than it is today, you know? So instead of talking to my AU coach as much, they were also talking to my high school coach. And, you know, I trusted my high school coach the most, you know, because she's the one that watched me develop. You know, she knows the type of player I am. And I felt like she kind of had some relationships with some of these colleges or had some information. So it was good with that. So, yeah, and then I started getting scholarships, offers, and I really didn't know how to handle that process. So it was kind of like an interesting journey.
That's so awesome. Just kind of just to kind of vision it, like kind of how it's happening for you. So it's almost like you go from, you know, new to the game to the game really loving you back, and it's
Right,
like, and
right,
it's like, oh snap, I can do something with this.
right.
So once you know you kind of stay close to home and went to North Texas, right? So once you got that offer, or maybe like when you're getting offers, what do you think it was gonna be like being a student athlete in college?
How I thought it was gonna go. Honestly, you might laugh at me for saying this, but you know that, you know, I'm pretty sure everybody knows about this. You know that movie Love and Basketball?
Yep. Hey, classic.
I honestly thought that that's how college was, you know, aside from like the romantic aspect of the movie, you know, I was like, okay, that's how it's going to be. It's going to be that tough, and it's going to be fun. I'm going to be enjoying it. I'm going to, you know, all these things. And when you're coming out of high school as a star athlete in your respective school, whatever the case may be, you're thinking like, I'm going to be the star on this team, you know, and then coaches talk to you like you are a star, you know? So you're
Mm-hmm.
thinking, okay, like I'm going to be just like in high school, I was a star. So I'm going to be a star in college. You're not thinking of going to school with other players that are just as good as you or even better. You know, now you're in a pool of athletes that are good and elite. You know, you're not like in high school anymore where like, you know, three to five, you know, people on the team are good. And then the rest of them are like, okay, you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So going to college, it was tougher than I thought, honestly, and I imagined. And I think it tested my mental more than it tested my physical, you know, physical state. And it's just so many things that are thrown at you that you are not ready for, no matter if you talk to people about it or not, or they tell you about their journey, because everybody's journey is different, even though it's the same as athletes. And dealing with, for me specifically, I signed to a coach to go to UNT, you know, when I decided that that's the school I wanted to attend. And for me, I signed because of the coach that was there, and not so much, oh my gosh, I love this school, you know? It's like you signed there because you feel like a coach is going to develop you both mentally, physically, and career-wise, you know, to be the best person and athlete you can be. So I signed to a coach, but then that coach decided that, you know, her dream job was somewhere else. So she took her dream job And so I had to basically, since I made a commitment, I had to go there still and do my freshman year there. And that was a struggle playing under a different coaching staff that I didn't know and didn't really know me or my game. So that was tough. But I had some people on the team that, looked out for me and had my back for the most part. And I enjoy my freshman year was tough, but I think the whole experience taught me a lot, you know? And it kind of helps you grow faster or develop faster than you might have thought or you might have wanted to. So you grow up a little bit quicker than you think, and you start looking at things differently, and it teaches you a lot of stuff. And as an athlete, you're juggling so many things, so it's not just athletics that you're focusing on. I think it would be easier if it was just athletics, but you're here trying to get a degree, and do the best you can in the classroom, so you're having to deal with that, and then you have to deal with athletics, and then you're having to deal with making friends, people that are going to be in your circle that are outside of athletics, so that you can have a different perspective on your college journey and try to do the best thing. So it was a lot, definitely, that you have to grow through and go through. So yeah,
I know a lot of athletes go through that, and
mm-hmm.
it can either go good or bad for you. Man, especially like basketball, like a smaller team, it's easier. But I know like sports like football, whatever. You have like 120 kids, and the coach changed.
Right.
You can't know all these different players and know what they're good and bad at, right?
No, that's true. Yeah.
For you, when we kind of had that coach change, how did you go about maybe getting that coach to kind of understand who you were since they didn't recruit you out of school?
Well, first, I would like to say that whenever you're signing to a school, for all the athletes out there, don't sign to a school because of the coach. Because of this situation, coaches can leave, at any time that they want, and athletes have different standards. So if you're going to sign to a school, and just think of the situation of, okay, if my coaches leave, like, would I still want to attend a school? Would I still want to get a degree at the school? Would I still enjoy being at the school? So I think you should consider all aspects. But for me, um, I don't know. I don't know how coaches think in that way. When new coaches come in, I don't know if they watch film on you. I don't know if they just ask about you. I don't know what their process is. But for me, we met, and they told me, this is who I am. This is where I coach. This is my my journey in college athletics. These are my wins. They kind of give you the whole spiel of who they are. And for me at that time, at that age, I wasn't just Googling people, trying to find out exactly who they were or what their success rate is. I kind of took their word for it. I was like, okay, this is who you are. You're telling me this is who you are, so this is who you are. And at that point, you can't really do anything about it. I'm going to be honest. I did think about leaving the school, transferring, but it was kind of hard because I had already signed. It was late in the game to transfer. I felt like I would have ended up in a really bad situation because it was 50-50, right? I leave and then go where? What coaches do I talk to? And there's so many rules in college athletics, so that plays a role. So it's not like you can just say, oh, I want to leave and go. Coaches have to give you your release, first of all. Then some coaches and some schools do cross out certain schools that you can't go to. You can't go to schools in your conference. You have to sit out a year. So there's so many things that come with transferring. And I talked to some people that I valued their opinion, and I knew that cared for me, and try to get their opinion on what they thought I should do. And their best opinion was to just stay and take on that first year as a freshman, see how it went, and then if I didn't like it, if I felt like it wasn't a good fit for me anymore, that I could leave and then start that transferring situation and journey. So I decided to stay. I think looking back now, I think my whole journey was a little tough. I had so many struggles, but I feel like it was supposed to happen how it happened. As an athlete, you obviously want to put yourself in the best situations possible, because your college career, when you go to the pros, that matters, right? They look at that, where you are, where you went, how you did, what the competition was like, the conference you're in, all that, and the coaching staff that you're under and the school that you're at plays a role and influences if you're going to be a great athlete. I think as an athlete, you can do so much by yourself, but whoever is taking care of you, whoever you're, following their directions, and whoever's leading you plays a big role into your success. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. So you want to position yourself, the best possible situation, although sometimes you can't control some of the stuff that happens along the way. So I just decided to tackle out my freshman year, and then, that's how we went. And I honestly decided to transfer again. That transferring thing came up because I was like, I don't know if I'm happy here. I don't know if I like the situation, but I think it worked out the way it's supposed to work out, honestly. So I'm happy about that.
Often, I think anyone can relate, because it's a story that happens every year. Like coaches carousel happens, and you're left trying to figure out do I have a spot in the system.
Right.
And then so that's awesome that you kind of just said I'm gonna stick it out and kind of ride the waves.
Yeah, I think you just have to be mentally tough and strong, to be honest. I think for any student athlete, it'd be hard to play under someone that you don't know their system. And I honestly agree with that. If you have a certain coach, because certain coaches don't adapt to certain players, right? They expect the player to adapt to the coach, but sometimes it doesn't work like that. Sometimes some players can only play under certain systems, because that's how they are. And whenever you try to change that, it's tougher, because if you come out of high school playing a certain position, right, and then all of a sudden you're thrown into a new position at a level where it's so high, it's kind of hard to make that transition and perform like you're expected to perform. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of tough. So I think the expectations when it comes to like new coaches or new coaching staff or playing with different new teammates, it's kind of an adjustment, honestly. But I think you have to be mentally tough. I think you have to love what you're doing to bypass all the things in the background that are trying to prevent you from being great. And I have to go after chasing your goals of what you want to do, no matter what environment you're in. You're supposed to adapt no matter the environment you're in and try to do your best to succeed. So, yeah.
Mic drop. That was fire right there. And like just that it won't always be easy. You just gotta just fight through it. Was the dream still the pro journey?
Yeah, so the pro dream, I think, the pro journey or the pro dream did come true. I mean, I did want to play in the WNBA. I think every athlete or every girl athlete that grows up, that's their dream job. It's like to play in the WNBA. But we also have to be realistic at times, because there's so many things that go into playing in that league. There's only a certain percentage of us that actually go and play the professional level. And I think, the conference you're in plays a role. There's so much politics surrounding that situation. A lot of people don't understand. It's not just, if you're good, you go to the league, because I know a lot of great players that aren't playing the WBA, and it's kind of puzzling, but there's so much politics that go into it. So with that, obviously that dream didn't come true, but I'm still living my dream because I'm playing here overseas. And I love it because, first of all, I get to travel, apart from, getting paid to do what I love. I get to travel. I get to meet new, people, entertain new cultures, learn so many things. And I think the growth within that is so much more than, what I could have gotten in the league in the U.S. And obviously that's everybody's goal, but just because I didn't reach that goal doesn't mean I didn't reach my goal at all. You get what I'm saying? And so I don't know, throughout life, your journey kind of takes a different road, and you could still reach the same destination with different, roads, and you just have to be consistent and resilient and know what you want and know your worth. And I think that's how my journey worked out, and I love what I do. I think it's really interesting. I get to create really great relationships, whether it's with the Americans I play with or against, or the the natives that live in whatever country I'm at, and I still like the first season of my my pro career. I'm still really cool with that coach, and it's interesting and awesome to know that, because as athletes overseas, you play a season in a country and then you move around, and you can always obviously re-sign, but you get to move around. So the relationships you create, you kind of leave behind a little bit, but to know that someone cares about you that much to keep up that relationship and that connection, I think means a lot, and you never know when you're going to need those people again, or whatever the case may be. So I value a lot of the connections and relationships I make along the way, you know.
And what's cool though is just how, earlier you said I thought it was gonna be like loving basketball,
Yeah.
and the way it kind of was for you though, because if you look at like Monica's journey outside like the love stuff, she went through a tough journey in a college game.
Hmm.
She kind of went through her own tribulation and like that, and then she went pro. So in a
Yeah.
way, you kind of did it.
Yeah. That way, yeah.
in a,
Yeah, with the exception of the love part, yeah.
the love start, hey, but it's just there's still time. You can have a love and basketball overseas edition, Greece edition.
That's
Make it happen.
interesting, but yeah.
Yeah, make it happen. But so the kind of so we're going to release it on a big day for you, right? It's the anniversary of your book.
Hmm.
And the book is called The Reality Behind the Glamour of College Athletics, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
so what inspired you to create this book, a year ago?
I think my inspiration honestly came not just from myself and the journey I went through. It came from me helping my sisters, because my sisters play college basketball. So one of them is at Texas A&M Commerce right now playing, having a really great season. And then my high school sister, she's a senior this year. She'll be going to TCU in the summer for summer workouts. They were going through the same thing I was going through out of high school, but the difference between me and them is I was able to help them make the right decisions for themselves. I was able to help guide them and tell them the truth about college and what they should prepare for, because it's best to prepare someone for something than not be prepared and then kind of have to make just random decisions, right, that they think is right. So with that, I was like, this is crazy, because a lot of athletes are going through this. A lot of athletes are being pulled out of high school, thrown into the system. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what to look forward to. All they know is, I just want to play this sport. And then most of the time, athletes are really known to be uneducated. We're known to not take our education seriously. All we care about is our athletics. And to a certain extent, I think that's true, because I witnessed that in college, with some of the teammates I had or other teammates from other schools. So I really wanted to just highlight the reality of college for athletes, and just kind of inspire, educate, and prepare them for that world, and the reality that they don't see, the reality that people don't talk about, of, okay, if you go to school and the only thing you focus on is athletics, and you don't really focus on your education, if you don't have a chance at going pro or playing after, what are you going to do with your life? You still have to live. Life still is going to be going, moving forward. And what are you going to do? What kind of career do you want to pursue? What kind of degrees are you getting? Are these degrees meaningful? Are you going to make money out of these degrees, to make a living? And those are real questions that a lot of athletes don't stop to think about. All they think about is what's now, right? And what's to come. They don't think of, okay, if that doesn't work out, what else am I going to do? And I think the education aspect, honestly, I was really passionate about. So I really wanted to highlight that the most. In my book, I also talked about the mental health aspect of athletes. I talked about injuries. I talked about scholarships and the difference, because the value of the scholarships is different from a Division I player to a Division II or even JUCO and all that. And we tend to only talk about Division I school athletes, but we forget about the rest of them, and they're important as well. They matter. And so I think a lot of education isn't really put on the other aspect of college athletics. They just only talk about the glamour of college athletics, which is, okay, you get to play, in an arena with multiple fans, and they're going to be cheering your name, and you're going to go to the school, you're going to get so much love. So that's the only thing we, highlight. We don't highlight the rest of it. And that's what I wanted to do with this book. So, yeah.
I gotta buy a copy then. I gotta read this, because for me, I think in my personal experience, I thought it would be like NCAA football, the video game,
Mm-hmm.
and
Definitely.
I think like hopefully someone reading your book, they can realize that you should really choose a legit degree.
No, facts. No, that's real facts, because I mean, even if you do make a pro, right? Let's say 1 year out of college, you make a pro. you never know where that journey is going to take you, and God forbid, injuries are a thing for us. Our bodies can only go for so long, and so when your body starts giving up on you, or if you sustain an injury, how are you going to move forward? Most athletes, honestly, that's when the mental health aspect of it kicks in, because we've been caring about this thing for so long. We've been doing this thing for so long. Once it's taken away from us, we feel like our lives are over. We don't know what to do next. We don't know what our next steps are. And it's because I feel like we aren't prepared for that. Our coaches, we're in college for 4 years, and your coaches should be, helping you grow as a person as well as an athlete, not just an athlete. So when they help you grow as a person, then they're doing their job. When they're only helping you as an athlete, they don't care about you beyond that. They only care about you when you're providing them something, which is your athletic ability. And when that's done, it's like they don't even know you anymore. So you want to be able to care for yourself and not rely on other people to care for you. That has to do with, learning how to do your resumes while you're still in college, applying for internships when you have the time, but, interview skills, those things that you need in the real world, because you do live in the real world. We like to think that we live in our own world, our athletic world, but they merge. You're still a person, so you're still in the real world, and you need to know how to merge those two and be prepared for whatever, have a plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, have plans, because you never know what life is going to give you, and obviously we want to have an optimistic approach to it, but you just never know. And I think my biggest thing also about the book was highlighting the retirement aspect of our sport. A lot of athletes don't know how to retire their sport. It's like it's hard for them. They don't know how to do that. It's like it's impossible. They think it's impossible. Well, that's because they didn't really prepare themselves outside of athletics. So once they retire and they find out, oh, I can't play after, or they decide they don't want to play after, their bodies can't go, they're like, okay, what now? But you should have been preparing for that while you were still in college. I want to say maybe your junior, senior year, that's when you need to buckle down and really prepare for that, and not have to prepare when life is going, after college, when life really hits, because you're sheltered when you're in college. You're not really an adult yet. You're preparing to be an adult. But if you start preparing to be an adult when you're an adult, that's tough. So
fire right now. Like this is good stuff, and I hope people find value from it, because it's so true everything you're saying. Just like building your identity outside of your sport.
Right.
So for you, like as you kind of realize this, as you read this book, and you kind of realize for your sisters, what was your identity outside of basketball?
Well, for me, I'm interested and I do a lot of stuff. For me, I got my degree in marketing because I was really passionate about marketing.
Hey, same here.
Marketing analytics and sports marketing, to be exact, because the marketing world is so huge. But just marketing in itself, I just love it. I enjoy it. And that's what I majored in. And then I minored in psychology because I was interested in that as well, studying people and all that. And so after, I knew I wanted to go pro, but when I graduated, I was also realistic. I'm like, okay, if this doesn't happen, I want to kickstart my world, my college career. I mean, my, life career. And so we ended up going pro, so I didn't really need to use my degree as much. When I do go home for the summer, I try to find internships or things I can do to grow my resume while I'm still playing. So when I'm like done playing and I'm like 30 something, they're like, okay, like your resume doesn't look like anything, and all I have to say for myself, oh, I play professional basketball. I think you can do both. I think you can play professional basketball and also grow your resume to where, when you do stop and you go into, your other career, your life career, you can say, okay, well, I was doing this, but I also made some time to grow my resume and get the experience I need for this particular job. Here it is. So that's that. And then I also modeled for a little bit. I tend to do a little bit of that during the summer as well. And then I became an author. So that's a new one to add to my resume. Became an author, and at first I was thinking this is a one and done. Like I really just wanted to talk about this particular subject. It was in my heart. It was heavy, and I did that. But then I realized like I love doing this. I like being an author. I like communicating. My word. I think words are impactful. And to be able to impact a generation of people, not even just athletes, to be better versions of themselves. That makes me feel good, So I knew I wanted to continue doing this. And I'm also actually working on an article right now about, an athlete plus their faith, or how they merge the two. So that's been a really interesting process. But for me, I tend to put myself in different situations, different uncomfortable situations, so I can grow and see what I like to do, aside from what I already like to do. I think you shouldn't limit yourself to only one thing. I think you should really explore, and especially when you're at a young age, this is the time for you to explore, do multiple things, try them. Okay, I didn't like that. Oh, I like that. So when you get at an age where you feel like you have to buckle down, you already know what you want. You're not still, going through the motions of, oh, I still don't know what I want, And then, so yeah, that's how I take things. That's how I look at things. So yeah.
What will it take to get an article on 9 Point?
Oh, we can talk about that. We can talk about that and get that going. I'd be really interested in doing that and collabing on this and getting my article, and getting it out there with you guys. I think it's gonna be a really. I don't know if you're. Okay, so I don't know what your faith is,
Christian. Yeah.
but I know you're an athlete, and for me, this was a very important topic, and it was a long time coming for me to write about this because I'm a faith-based person. I'm a spiritual person, and I think my faith has carried me through a lot of struggles with basketball, and it's made me to be a better person and better athlete. And I think our faith, whoever is spiritual out there, whatever athlete that's spiritual, I think our faith in a lot of ways is our refuge, when it comes to this sport, because there's so many things, crazy things that happen within our sport. You're not playing well. Your coach is treating you a different way. Your teammates don't like you, especially being overseas. Pro athletics really tests you, because at this point of your life, you're supposed to only be good. You can't be bad. Or so, that's what people think. It's like, okay, you have to be at your game every time. Every time you step on the court, you literally have to be at your game, but they don't realize that you're not a robot. You're human. And so whenever you feel like you're incapable or incompetent or not good enough, or, you're not as good as you thought you were, my faith comes in and like, no, you're good enough. You know what I'm saying? Or you've never made it to this level. And it kind of just, my situation before, it makes it smaller. It shrinks my world, and it makes me understand, hey, this is a temporary thing, I need to fix my mental state right now. I need to be optimistic and positive, and I need to know that I'm playing for something bigger than myself. I'm playing, these are not just my own particular skills and assets, and I'm glorifying someone that's bigger than me. This has a way bigger purpose than myself. So when you start thinking like that other stuff, it means nothing anymore. Instead of just like kind of honing in on it and just thinking about it 24/7 and game after game, you're doing worse and worse and worse because your mental state is not healthy and it's not right. This helps me. My faith helps me. It calms me down. It puts everything into perspective. And once I do that, oh yeah, next game, it's done for, I'm back to the athlete that I thought I was, and I know I was, and I'm normal again. But athletics, honestly, a lot of people think it's 100% like physical. It's not. Like, it's mental. It's your physical. Like, you can get rehab, right? If something's hurting you, get treatment, you can stretch and your body's good again. Your mind, if you don't fix your mind in that particular moment or even a moment after, it just goes downhill because you start thinking about the negative stuff and you need something to help you, to something that you can cope with, that can help you cope, And so that's why I wrote this book. And I know a lot of athletes out there are very spiritual and they're faith-based, and that's how they get through. And I just wanted to highlight that and explain to people like, hey, we merge the two because it helps us perform better. It helps us do better. It helps us be better people, behave better, and it helps us not get lost alongside our journey. And this is our story. So, yeah.
Yo, you're amazing. Like legit. For me, that like kind of how I found God a little bit. Like when I turned my ACL, my trainer, Eddie Jacks, he was like, Kobe, the only way you're gonna get through this is if you're a praying man. And
yes.
and for me, and I was like, all right, I need to figure out this prayer thing. So I started talking to God, just like saying, I don't know why this happened, man. Like, like I had all these dreams and mission, like I don't know why this happened, but I know I know there's a purpose that's bigger than this, than this game. And
right.
I look at my life now, like what I'm doing now with the podcast and like that. Wasn't for the ACL tear, who knows if I'll be doing this?
Exactly.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, no matter good or bad, honestly, and I try to keep that in my mind. No matter good or bad, everything happens for a reason, and it's working out for your own benefit, you know, and for the better good of you and what you're trying to do, and everything comes full circle. Like when I got hurt my first season overseas in the playoffs, I was thinking, what? Like I'm just at the height of my career right now. Like I'm like there's so much I want to do. Like my career was promising. Like why is this happening? But it's so crazy because if I would have never got hurt my first season, I would have never wrote this book. You know, I would have never done the stuff that I've already done, you know, and things that I'm wanting to do and willing, you know, will do. So like that mindset would have never came in, you know, I would never had the opportunity to do the things that I want to do now. I would never had the opportunity to meet the people that I've met. Like, it's just so many things. Like in the moment you're thinking, why? And then when you step out and you look into the big picture, you're thinking, oh my gosh, like it's actually fine. I'm fine. You know, I'm okay. You know, I'm okay. It's working out better than I expected or better than I planned out. You know, so I
And,
try to look
and,
at it that way.
and it's almost like God saying, "Do you not trust me?"
Exactly. Exactly. And that
Yeah.
trusting is a big thing.
Yeah.
It's such a big thing because you want to control everything, but you can't, you
Yeah.
know?
What's your favorite verse?
I would say favorite verse. I don't have a favorite verse, but I do have a favorite book.
Okay.
Like, and my favorite book would be Proverbs, you know? And I like that book because there's so much wisdom in that book, you know, that we can relate in our daily lives and we can use in our daily lives. And every time I've read it so many times now, but I keep reading it because there's so many good things to take from that book that you can apply to your own life, you know. And for me, I'm the type of person that overthinks stuff, and I want to control everything. I want to control my life, what I'm doing. You know, I want to plan everything out, but you don't have that opportunity when you trust in someone else that's like bigger than you. You can't do that. You can't have control, and he has control. You know, you just have to give that control away. And with that book, there's a difference between having knowledge and then having wisdom. And it's better to have wisdom than just common knowledge. You know. And so it teaches me that every single day. And I don't know, I don't know. I really, it just puts everything into perspective, to be honest.
Shell, you out here preaching this morning.
Just a little bit, you know,
A little
a
something,
little
something.
some, a little some.
That's awesome, man. And like, I don't know, like, I know your episode's gonna really inspire people because it's real on all levels of the whole. That's like people in Dallas, you know, like we live and breathe our sports.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and there's so many kids out there that will never make it to college or may not make it a pro, and hopefully they can hear your story and kind of just hear what your book's about and kind of use that at their own level of their journey.
Yeah.
So what's what I want to do too. I want to do a giveaway of your book. So
Oh,
so
yeah.
we can find a way to, I don't know, do it on I think next Friday, right? Is the day, or
hmm
next Thursday. We
hmm
can, when it's released, we can do a giveaway for it, and
Yeah, that's great.
we can I don't know how we can do either like a, I don't know, just like follow type thing, or make it more extravagant. We can just give it away, and then I'll cover the cost to get it to someone in the U.S.
hmm Yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be great. That'd be great. I'm actually working on doing an audible for it now because coming to Greece, my teammates, they obviously they Google everything about you. They want to know everything about you, and they've been wanting to read it, but because it's in English and they speak Greek, it's kind of been hard. The language barrier. So I thought, for all the athletes out there around the world that I meet, through this journey of being a pro athlete, like if they want to read my book but they can't, I thought, okay, well, let me turn it to an audible where like they can choose a language preference, and be able to read it, and take something away from that and kind of get inspired by it. So that's what I'm working on now.
That's awesome. That's big. That's big stuff right there.
Yeah.
That's legit. That's legit. So last question for you, fella. I'll let you go. So where are you at, social media wise? Website we can kind of mention right now.
Okay, so my social media account, my Instagram account is AT_235. My Twitter is big A_23. I don't have a website currently for my book or anything, but I do have a book page, and it's at the reality behind the glamour _. And those are the social medias that I use the most. I do have a Facebook, I don't really use it that much. But those are my go-to social medias account. I also have a YouTube channel actually. And I haven't been on in a while, but usually what I did on there was I interviewed different athletes about different topics and kind of had a conversation with them. It wasn't like an interview, it was more so like a conversation about different topics in the college athletic world. So my YouTube is Acheil Tech TV. I haven't gone on in a while. I want to get back, but with basketball, it's been hard. I haven't had the time to really sit down and make videos or anything like that, but definitely going to get on soon. So yeah, those are my social media accounts.
I love it. And shout out to Sackley High School.
Of course, yes. Mustangs.
Richardson High School, go Eagles.
Oh, I guess we could do that too.
I just share the love a little bit, you gotta mix it around.
Right.
Well, Acheil, it's been great having you on, and I look forward to learning more about your journey. I think you're gonna do some big things with this.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure, honestly. It's been an honor to be on your podcast and being able to talk about my journey. And just, I think what you're doing is great. I think it's awesome. I think there's, a big future for you and what you're doing. And I'm honestly inspired by you. So just continue to do what you do. And thank you for having me on here.
Oh, wow. I appreciate that. Hey, you've been preaching all day, so keep going. Awesome. Well, hey, I'll talk to you soon.
Yo, thanks for listening to this episode of the 9 Point Started With a Dream podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please comment, share, leave a review. We would love to hear your thoughts. You can find more athlete-driven content at 9point.com. Till the next episode, you're only one opportunity away. Peace.